Hey, this is Mark Moore, aka Tuxedo Mark, at various places on the internet. It's 4:40 p.m. according to a computer clock on Monday, April 8, 2013, and I just got back from the movie theater. I saw G.I.Joe Retaliation. So I thought I'd share my thoughts on the film. First of all, a bit of backstory regarding my familiarity with G.I. Joe. I grew up as a Gem boy. I watched Gem growing up. I didn't watch Transformers or G.I. Joe. My first exposure to Transformers was either an episode of Beast Wars or the animated film that my friend Matt had let me borrow in college. Okay, this was in the mid to late 1990s, and I had gotten a tape of the G.I. Joe, The Revenge of Cobra miniseries at Bell's Outlet. I got a VHS tape back in sometime in the 90s also. But I really wasn't familiar with G.I. Joe. I recently got the Sumbo sets a few years ago. I've watched like the first 2 episodes of the first miniseries so far. I also once got a VHS tape in Walgreens of an episode of the Deke series, and of course I got a VHS tape of the animated movie years ago. But I've read a few of the G.I. Joe comic books from Marvel, and I read the Transformers G.I. Joe crossover, but that was years ago also. I have a basic understanding of the characters. I got the Resolute webisode series on DVD. I watched that. That was good. And I got I believe it was it Valor vs. Venom? It was the second of the 2 CGI films that supposedly occurs in the Sigma 6 universe. I got that on DVD. I didn't watch Sigma 6, and as I said, I'm just really starting on the Sumbo series, which I'm looking forward to because it's more, 1980s Sumbo material for me to look at. Having watched Gem and Transformers, I'm sure that I'll feel right at home in watching this. But yeah, I'm not a fan of G.I. Joe from back in the 80s or anything like that. I went to see the Rise of Cobra film in 2009. It was good. I loved Rachel Nichols as Scarlet, but then again, Scarlet's my favorite show, and I've always been attracted to the female characters in whatever I watch or read or whatever, or the video games that I play. So, now, regarding this new film, first of all, obviously, I think everyone knows it was supposed to come out last May, and they had even begun like a promotional push for it. There was a 30-second Super Bowl spot last year. And then it was delayed by almost a year until March 28th, because the test audience was like, why isn't it in 3D? It didn't need to be in 3D, trust me. Obviously, I wanted to see a 3D showing because it was the earliest one. I would have to wait till later for the 2D showing. I wasn't going to do that. There are some neat effects where some stuff kind of looks like it's coming off the screen. Nothing like directly at you, like nothing that you see at Universal Studios with the, Terminator 2 3D Battle Across Time or the Shrek 4D. Nothing that intricate, nothing that detailed. But I wouldn't have waited. I would have just put the film out. I mean, if the biggest complaint from the test audience is why isn't it in 3D, I'd be like, whatever. But anyway, first some non-spoiler stuff to talk about. I think everyone knows the basic premise from the first film that Zartan is impersonating the U.S. president, and what happens is he sets the Joes up to be killed. Like he frames Snake Eyes for the death of the Pakistani president, and then he orders all of the Joes around the world wiped out. Now, Duke, played by Channing Tatum, he's in only about the first 20 minutes of this film. Supposedly, part of the reason that the film was delayed was to shoot more stuff between Duke and Roadblock to kind of flesh out their friendship, but I've read conflicting stuff about that. Supposedly, it's been denied that they shot any additional scenes. Don't know, but anyway, he's in maybe, I don't know, first 20 minutes, and he gets killed. He is the only returning Joe from the first film, and the only Joe from the first film at all that is explicitly killed on screen. None of the other non-returning Joes from the first film are ever mentioned at all. Scarlet, never mentioned. Ripcord, never mentioned. Heavy Duty, never mentioned. General Hawk, never mentioned. You get the idea. Supposedly Joe's base was wiped out. I think they might have mentioned that at one point. The pit is never explicitly mentioned. There's one kind of allusion to it at one point when they arrive at Roadblock's old teen hangout, like some kind of rundown gym, and Jay kind of jokingly says a real pit. That's the only thing. It's their new base of operations. Anyway, it's done really well. They changed the director, obviously. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but so what we have is, okay, oh, by the way, also Baroness Anna from the first film, again, never mentioned. There's no real resolution to if she was able to completely get over that programming, but yeah, she's never mentioned. A lot of stuff from the first film is rendered inconsequential, but at the same time, they do follow up on certain things, such as Zartan impersonating the president and Cobra Commander and Destro being locked away, that you would have had to have seen the first film in order to understand what's going on in this one. So it's kind of weird. It's not a reboot. It's more like they've decided to just simply forget about a bunch of things from the first film and then just go off in this new direction. Yeah. Kind of like how Transformers Dark of the Moon rendered a great deal of Transformers Revenge of the Fallen inconsequential. But at the same time, they did follow up on certain things, such as, like Wheelie and stuff like that, and Megatron being brought back. Yeah. But anyway, let me see here. I really miss Scarlet. I missed Scarlet during the entire time that I was watching this film. I really wish she would have been in it. That said, the girl that plays Jay, I forget her name, Adrian Palicki or something. I don't know. She did good. She was really good as Jay. And then there was Jinx, Storm Shadow's cousin. She was good. They casually decide to not bring back Destro. That was what was his name? The McCullen guy or whatever from the first film. He's locked away in the prison or whatever, and then Cobra Commander's like, Destro, you're off the team or something like that. Yeah, just a casual whatever. You're not appearing in this film. Let's see. Over on the Cobra side, they brought in Firefly. On the Juice side, obviously there's Roadblock, played by Dwayne Johnson. There's Jay. There's Flint. And it looks like Jay and Flint kind of have a casual interest in each other. Nothing ever develops between them, really. Then they bring in General Colton, the original Joe, played by Bruce Willis. They don't bring him in until, like, I don't know, halfway through the movie, maybe later. He doesn't have a whole lot of screen time, but he was good. Okay, I think now I'm going to get into spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie and you don't want to be spoiled, just shut off the video now. Casualties. Let's see. Roadblock kills Firefly. Storm Shadow kills Zartan. Obviously Duke is killed in the attack, but everyone knew that anyway. Overall, there weren't a whole lot of casualties on each side other than, a bunch of nameless Joes being wiped out. Presumably, it's not stated, but I guess presumably, judging by the final scene in the film, General Colton's back in command, and presumably they've got to rebuild the Joes. It's not stated, but since their names have been cleared and everything, and the president, the real president, is back in office, I'm guessing that they have to rebuild, basically. There's this one scene that I heard was inspired by a scene from the Resolute web series. There's a scene in the film where Cobra destroys London. Yeah, it's destroyed with some kind of high-tech device that basically just annihilates the entire city. Like it falls like underwater, like completely disintegrates or collapses. It's like a nuclear bomb, but without the fallout. I believe the line was none of the fallout, all of the fun. But anyway, yeah, that was really well done. What else? There was a scene where they're in Colton's house, and he's got guns and ammo and everything hidden everywhere, in the couch, in the kitchen cupboards. It was really fun. And I'm not a gun fan, but I enjoyed seeing that. It was fun. Let's see. I think that's about all that I have to say. It runs slightly shorter than the original film, but by only 10 minutes, I guess. I'm not sure exactly, but it felt, just right in terms of running time, and they sure do pack a lot in there. Yeah, definitely go see it. I guess one other comparison that I can make is that it might feel to you the way that the original Transformers animated film felt to Transformers fans in the 80s. And as I mentioned, I didn't grow up with Transformers in the 80s, and the animated movie might have been my first. It was definitely my first exposure to Generation 1, and it might have been my first exposure to Transformers overall. But anyway, it's like they start out with the original characters, and then they killed a bunch of them off, and then you have to follow these new characters. This movie wasn't quite as jarring as that film would have been to Transformers fans back in the 80s, but they start off. They have Duke there, and they've got the new guys alongside him, and then Duke's killed, and you'll see, mostly on the Cobra side, you'll see some of the characters from the first film, but you've got the old characters there, but then you've got all of these new characters, so it's kind of this weird mishmash where, okay, we know it's in the same universe, and I recognize that guy, but we've got all these new guys that we gotta get to know, and it's like that, kind of. One other thing I'll mention, this is probably the last thing. During the final scene when the president's making a speech and General Colton is presenting awards to the rest of the Joes, the music, just the background score, it doesn't sound exactly like it, but it reminded me of What I've Done by Linkin Park. So it kind of reminded me of the final scene, the final, closing scenes of the first Transformers film. Kind of strange, but it was nice too. The closing credits start with kind of character montages that list each actor during their little montage of scenes, but then the actual closing credits start, and I waited till the end. There's no final scene at the end or anything, so after you've seen the little character montages during the beginning of the closing credits, once it goes to the black screen and the credits start rolling, you can leave. Yeah. So, yeah, my final recommendation, go and see it. Just kind of know what you're getting into with it, okay? And it's 4:59 p.m. and that's it. Thanks for watching.